Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today we're diving into the wild world of online dating, specifically Tinder. While many people find love, friendship, or at least a decent date, some encounters take a turn for the truly strange and unsettling. We have collected 5 stories from users who swiped right and ended up with a tale to tell. One that might make you think twice before your next match. So grab your popcorn, get comfortable, and let's get into these 5 creepy Tinder stories. Our first story comes from a user named Chloe. She matched with a guy who seemed perfect on paper. He was charming, had a great job, and they had tons of common interests. They texted for a week before deciding to meet for coffee. The date was going great. The conversation flowed. He was funny, and he looked just like his pictures. But then things got a little weird. He started mentioning specific details about her life that she'd never shared with him. He knew the name of her childhood pet, the small town her grandparents lived in, and even a funny story about a family vacation from years ago. Chloe was confused and a bit creeped out. She asked him how he knew all this. He just smiled and said, "I like to be thorough." He then admitted he'd spent hours digging through her social media, her friends' profiles, and even some public records online. He saw it as romantic dedication. She saw it as a massive red flag. She politely excused herself to the restroom and never came back. It's a chilling reminder to be mindful of how much personal information is out there. Next up, we have a story from Mark. Mark matched with a woman whose profile was pretty sparse, just a few photos and a short bio that said lover of adventure. He was intrigued. They agreed to meet for a hike at a popular local trail. When he arrived at the trailhead, she was already there. She was friendly, but something felt a little off. As they started walking, she began talking about her other family. Mark, thinking she meant she had kids from a previous relationship, asked about them. She just laughed and said, "Oh no, they're not human." She then launched into a detailed explanation of how she was part of a wolf pack and that her alpha had sent her to recruit new members. She kept insisting that Mark had the spirit of a lone wolf and that he needed to join them. The further they walked into the woods, the more intense she became, even starting to howl softly under her breath. Mark, feeling increasingly uncomfortable, made an excuse about twisting his ankle and hobbled back to his car as fast as he could. He unmatched her before he even pulled out of the parking lot. A lover of adventure indeed, but maybe not the kind he was looking for. Our third story is a classic case of too good to be true. A user named Sarah matched with a handsome, wealthy-looking guy. His profile was full of pictures on yachts, in private jets, and at exclusive parties. He was incredibly smooth and invited her to a fancy dinner at a 5-star restaurant. Sarah was thrilled. She got dressed up, excited for a glamorous night out. The guy was everything he seemed: online charming, attentive, and he ordered the most expensive things on the menu without blinking. The evening was magical until the bill came. He suddenly looked pale and started fumbling through his pockets. He claimed he left his wallet in his other jacket and asked Sarah if she could cover the bill, promising to pay her back immediately. The bill was astronomical. Reluctantly, Sarah paid, feeling awkward but believing his story. He gave her a quick hug, promised to text her his payment confirmation, and then practically sprinted out of the restaurant. She never heard from him again. She later found out from a friend that this guy was infamous for pulling the same stunt on multiple women. A scary story for your wallet, if not for your life. This fourth story comes from a guy named Ben, and it's a real head-scratcher. He connected with a woman who seemed sweet and normal. After a few days of pleasant conversation, they decided to meet at a quiet bar downtown. When Ben got there, he saw her sitting at a table in the corner, but she wasn't alone. There was an older woman sitting with her who she introduced as her mother. Ben was a bit surprised, but rolled with it. Maybe her mom was just protective, but the date was odd. Every time Ben asked his date a question, her mother would answer for her. "What kind of music do you like?" Ben would ask. "She loves classical and a bit of soft rock," the mom would jump in. "What do you do for fun?" "We enjoy visiting museums and gardening together." His date just sat there, smiling and nodding, barely saying a word. It felt less like a date and more like a parent-teacher conference. The weirdest part was when he went to the restroom. On his way back, he overheard the mother whispering to her daughter, "Remember, smile more." "He needs to think you're happy." Ben finished his drink and made a polite exit, completely bewildered by the whole experience. Our final story is perhaps the most unsettling. It comes from Jenna, who matched with a man named Alex. He was an artist, and his profile was full of his paintings. They were dark and abstract, but very talented. They hit it off and decided to meet. He suggested she come over to his studio to see his work in person. Jenna, being an art lover herself, agreed. His studio was in a large, old warehouse. It was a little creepy, but the art was amazing. As he was showing her around, she noticed a series of portraits in a corner, all facing the wall. She asked if she could see them. Alex got quiet and seemed hesitant, but then he shrugged and turned them around. Jenna's blood ran cold. They were all portraits of her, dozens of them, in different styles, different poses, but all unmistakably her. He explained that he'd seen her around town for months and had been painting her from memory, and when he saw her on Tinder, he thought it was fate. While some might see this as romantic, Jenna was terrified. He knew her face, but she had no idea who he was until that match. She complimented his talent, made an excuse about a friend needing her, and got out of there as fast as she could. Fate or obsession, you decide. And that is a wrap on 5 creepy Tinder stories that prove dating apps can be a real adventure. It's a reminder to always trust your gut, meet in public places, and maybe do a little less online stalking than Chloe's date. What are your thoughts? Have you had any bizarre dating app experiences? Let us know in the comments below. We'd love to hear your stories. Thanks for hanging out with us today. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. And don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss our next one. Stay safe out there and happy swiping.